So here we are, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm Bernardo Moya. I'm the founder of The Best You, and I'm delighted and excited to have a brief chat with a phenomenal individual with a great, inspiring story who's going to be joining us at the Best You Expo later on in 2020. So Vicky Shettini will show you what financial freedom looks like. 4 years ago, she was a homeless, and now she's building homes for other people. She founded WIT, which I love, is whatever it takes, Property Finders, and she was already on track to accomplish her financial freedom, building her wealth and legacy. And legacy, obviously, as so many of you know, is a very dear word, very close to my heart. And from humble beginnings, she stayed focused and driven. She's obviously reinvented herself a few times and is obviously extremely resilient. But currently, her most recent accomplishment is her product, Wealth and Empowerment, Real Estate for Financial Freedom. Her goal is to use her product and all the knowledge that she's gained over the few years, or over these many years, to help at least 1 million people. I'm a great believer in thinking big, so why not? Absolutely, think big and reach as many people as you can and help as many people as you can. So Vicky is the author of Investing Real Estate Secrets. Her most recent accomplishment is her product, Wealth and Empowerment, as I said, and I'm just very excited to speak to her. Vicky, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for having me.
No, my pleasure. So one of the things that I normally like doing when I run this is, when I run these webinars, or when I do interviews, in your words, tell me who you are, what you do, and how you help people. Who you are, what you do, and how you help people.
I am a single mom, and I love also dogs. So I have 5 fur babies that they're rescues. And what do? I do real estate investing. I was at a point that I could have retired, and I said, nope, I'm going to go find the Vickys of the world, the people that are driven to go and create their own legacy.
Brilliant. And so you've obviously had a phenomenal story, and, tell me a little bit about where you started and kind of, the challenges you've had to get to where you are today.
Well, I was going through my second divorce, and it was just horrible. My daughter goes off to school, and literally it was always just me and her her whole life. So when she went off to school, I had that empty nest syndrome. And honestly, I never believed in empty nest syndrome until I went through it. It was horrible. So I decided I was going to follow her, but I still wanted to give her space. So I moved 3 hours away from her. That way, if I was really, really having withdrawals, I could just drive and go see her. So I decided to move to Jackson, Mississippi, across country. Limited budget. I had been working from paycheck to paycheck and only really had $25 left to my name. Well, everything that could have happened on that trip just happened. And by the time I got to Jackson, Mississippi, even the house that I had planned to move into, that also fell through. And I ran out of money. I was down to $478. I was staying at this horrible motel where there was bed bugs. There was graffiti on the mirror. Who knows what color the carpet was supposed to have been in its lifetime. So it was nasty. It was nasty, and instead of staying focused, I lost focus. Depression started sinking in. So I was staying in the back of my car, and one night, it was a pretty bad night. I'm not going to get into what my mental thoughts were, but it was just not good. And the fight broke out outside, and then there was gunfire. So I'm sitting in the back of my car hiding and thinking, wow, I came after everything I've had in life. I come here to die in the back of this car. So the next morning, I wake up and I quickly realize, what in the world am I doing? This is so not me. I've been in my own pity me party, and nobody else is joining this party. Look around. It was just me. So first thing I go do, I know I needed to take action fast, and I go and get a rescue dog. Hearing his story, I realize I'm in my pity me party. I am choosing to be here. I can do something to get out of this. He didn't choose the life he had. So having him, Mr. B, it was completely changed my mindset. And within 3 days, I found two people that were willing to owner finance me their house. I didn't have any money down. Just keep in mind, I had no money to put down. I had a bankruptcy on my credit. I had a foreclosure on my credit. I did not have a job and I'm new to town. So I called everyone and anyone that was willing to listen to me. Did I get hang up on? Yes. Did I get laughed at? Yes. But I still kept going because I had me and I was driven. I was not going to stop till I found the person that was going to give me the chance. And I did it.
Vicky, can I ask you, how old were you then?
47 years old.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Well, that's a learning lesson, in itself. I mean, because I know a lot of people that literally have given up in their mid 30s or early 30s or late 20s or think it's too late for them to change. I'm a massive believer that it's never, ever, 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 ever too
Ever.
late. And
Ever.
and this is just a perfect example. So was that obviously kind of the lowest point of your life? At that point in your would you say that was it?
With the exception of when my dad passed away, with that taking that part of that was completely different personally, financially, and mentally. Yes, that night was rock bottom for me. That was it.
So what would you say? Obviously, you're resilient, but what would you say that helped you to get out of that spiral or situation you were in to be solution driven? You'd say, hey, is this it? What am I going to do? How am I going to get out of this? So you obviously had a process of you thinking differently, doing things differently. What changed? What happened?
Well, it was really basically that night. The next morning, I woke up and I realized, I had been in my pity me party and I lost focus of what I had came here to do. With everything that had happened, I lost focus. I knew I needed to do something. And how do you get yourself out of it? It's not that easy to snap a finger and say, "Oh, I'm not depressed anymore." It just wasn't possible for me. So the one thing that I you know, was needing to me at that point was I needed a dog. The dog, Mr. B, that was my switching point. Hearing his story, and now it wasn't about me and my pity me party. Now it was about, making it better for him. And it seems silly because I know what you're thinking. Vicky's just a dog. Well, it wasn't for me. It was me and him against the world. And best dog ever, we were still sleeping in the back of the car when all this happened. And he was great. It was just my emotional comfort having someone there. It completely changed me. And I had my goals in mind when I came here. I knew I was going to buy 60 houses in the first 4 years. That meant 1.5 house a month. That means I had to go look at so many houses per week. And that meant I had to research so many houses per day. I had it down. My goal was down packed, down to the days, but I didn't follow it. I didn't do it. I had to do the switch. Once I got him and I changed my mind, I got back on track. I got focused. I went back to the goals and started doing what I came here to do. And that was really what I did. And I haven't stopped since because I got a chance to be able to retire and I just didn't want to. What was I going to do? So now my mission is go find the Vickies of the world. Those of you who are driven, who are not going to give up, who are going to do with whatever it takes, then those are the ones I want to follow.
Well, that's an amazing story. So what would you say then is there's obviously these common denominators that we find that people have when we hit rock bottom. Obviously, it's the mindset, it's a lack of confidence, it's not seeing a way out. What do you think are the common things that people go through when they feel that they can't get out of that spiral and move forward? What do you think the common things are?
It's your mindset. It's something, there has to be something that triggers you, that motivates you. For me, it was Mr. B. Just because I with me was a dog, you might have something else that that will switch it. And then after that is you have, it's hard to stay focused. It's hard to, when you're living in the back of your car, to stay on task. Now you have to go to Starbucks for me to be able to the computer because you didn't have internet, right? So you need to be creative, think outside the box. There's too many people inside the box. So you need to get creative and do your goals. They need to do their goals. So bottom line is find the thing that will keep you motivated, and then do not lose track. It's easy to lose track, but think to yourself, is if it's going to benefit you. Just stay on task, keep pushing forward. The one thing I've noticed since this whole thing happened, every time, you know, my business goes up and then it goes down a little bit and then it goes up again and it goes down a little bit and then it goes up some more. Every time it goes down, that is my learning curve. Think about it that way. Don't think, why me? No, it's not why me. You want it to have some ups and downs because that's how you're going to fix it and improve. If your business just goes straight up, be careful because as fast as it goes up, it can come down. So you want to have the stairs up, down a little bit, or even plateau, fix it, go up some more. That's a strong building blocks you're building to get up there. So don't get discouraged when things go bad. I found that when things go bad, I had an event, I kid you not, everything, that was one of those events. We had the wrong flight, the wrong date, everything. We had everything going wrong on that event. And I could have just said, you know what, I'm not going. But I decided to drive overnight 10 hours to make sure I made it there on time. I made it. It was the best event ever. What would have happened if I would have given up? I would have lost out. So don't ever give up. Just things will go wrong. It's just inevitable. It's not for me or why me or whatever it is. It's because that's your learning curve. And most people will give up during that time. If you push through, you're going to be in the 1% that makes it because you're pushing through, you're figuring out how to do it, and you're going to just keep going up.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I think not people, well, I think part of the problem that people have is they don't even show up. So kind of like, so
Yeah.
I'm a great believer that, it's like change, adversity, whatever is happening. If you start looking it as something positive, something that's helping you to grow, helping you to expand, understanding that it's part of life and welcoming change, all of a sudden, you'll start seeing things differently. But I think part of the problem is that people, as you say, you call it, define it, pity me, but people have this sense of, why me, or, or feeling that, ultimately it's not fair. It's life. You can either look at it as a problem, or you can look at it as a challenge, or you can look at it as an opportunity. And I think that that's part of the problem. And I know it. Some people say, well, that doesn't help. Well, it does help. I think kind
Yeah.
of at the end of the day, even in your darkest time, with everything that was going bad for you, the fact is that there was probably other people in the world that were probably even worse than you, who didn't have any limbs, who didn't sleep in a car, who was living in a war zone, who was deaf, who's blind. So I think of really understanding kind of why, we really have to believe that this is good and it's happening, and what can I learn from it, and that's one of the things that I've also started identifying. I think with these kind of situations when things happen to them, I'm always looking at what can I learn from this, and I'm only really looking because is there an opportunity here? And I'm sure a lot of us have gone through this where something challenging has happened, which looked and felt terrible, but it was probably one of the best things that's ever happened to us in hindsight now. Or
Yes. Yes.
and I think that's something that we have to remember. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that.
And like the whole being homeless, I see now why I had to go through it. I I never thought I was going to go be a speaker. I was just going to come be an investor, build my wealth, and that's it. I was done. But now that I'm out helping people, I had to go through what I went through to be able to relate with a lot of people and show them, look, I did it from the back of my car. I didn't stop. And when things go wrong, you said it, is figure out what is it, how you could have prevented. Are people going to do bad? Yes. Are people going to do uh, things that will hurt you or whatnot? Yes. But the lesson there is, what can you learn from it? What to not do in the future or whatever. There's always a lesson. So when things are going bad, I am the most excited. The worse it gets, I start getting even more excited because I know what's coming. It's going to be huge and really, really good. Just like that event. If you only knew all the stuff that happened for me to get there, and it really was an amazing event, and I was able to help so many people, and just the feeling that you get out of this is just, I just can't explain it. But it was an amazing event, and I would have missed out. And now it was a learning curve for me on things that what to do for the future. It hasn't happened again because I learned what not to do.
Great, Vicky. So tell me, so from there, when you had this turning point, and then obviously you moved on to build what you've built now. So where are you now? What have you managed to achieve from where you were? Where are you professionally in as a real estate buyer investor? Where are you now?
Well, now I built 4 companies. I have the management company, contracting company. I have the investment company. So, and then I have a virtual company. So I do a lot of work for virtual assistants. I believe I have over 15 right now. So I have virtual assistants, and I like building companies and making them turnkey. So now it's not even just about real estate. In the real estate arena, I have over 100 houses, 5 apartment complex, and it's turnkey. It's just a well-oiled machine that just keeps going, and I still keep buying. Now I'm focusing on Vicky Shettini, making sure that she finds the Vickys of the world and help those Vickys to achieve their goal. It might not be real estate, whatever the reason their passion is. I'm a true believer to do what you're passionate about. Follow your passion. Is real estate a great tool? I also believe that you should have different baskets of income. Mine, a lot of my baskets are in real estate, and a big basket is in rental houses, but have different sources of income coming in, and then just build your empire, solid empire. If tomorrow you want to go to the Bahamas, you can, because the machine is oiled very well and it just keeps running without you.
Well, that's brilliant, Vicky, and I've got to say you have an amazing story. Part of my challenge as a promoter many times, having worked with I don't know, more than 700 speakers now, and having promoted a few events, is that unfortunately I do find a lot of people that aren't congruent with their own message. And what I mean by this is that these are people that talk about love, and they probably haven't had a lot of love or experienced love in their life, or talk about happiness and they're quite miserable, or talk about wealth and they're not wealthy. So kind of like it's just great to see someone that is genuine, authentic, that walks the talk with your life experiences, because I think this is what makes a difference. And I believe what I want to do, and kind of what we're trying to do with the Best You is to present to people, the real aspect of personal professional growth, which means any and everything. Well-being is a very vast is very vast because it means many different things to many different people. Everyone was always very niche, and I was being very anti-niche because I think we always have to be open to learning new things.
Correct.
Do I want to learn how to dance salsa? Do I want to learn how to invest in forex or stock exchange? Do I want to invest into real estate? We have to have our mind always open to learning new things and being and investing in ourselves, and also understanding that it's never ever too late. So kind of you've got, you tick all the boxes, Vicky. So I'm delighted to have you sharing your story. So tell me, that's where you are now. You've built this beautiful, different ways of resources and companies, and now you're sharing your message and helping other people to do it. So what do you teach and what do you educate people in when it comes down to kind of either building a business or getting involved in real estate? What do you teach?
I teach the different ways. So here, when most people teach it, and I do agree with you on when I first decided to go find the Vickys of the world, I started speaking at different events, other people's events. And one of the events, it was the information they were teaching was outdated. It wasn't current. So that told me that they weren't actively investing at the moment because it was just outdated information. The other one, I would hear what they were teaching and I'm paying attention and I'm thinking, the formula that you're giving plus the return on the investment you're saying is good, it's not good because once you go into take into consideration work orders or vacancies, your people are going to lose their shirts. You're not giving any padding for that. So I do agree with you. A lot of people are just there just to make the money and they're not walking the walk. And that's what's completely different. I lost track because I got all excited telling you this part. What was the question
Yeah,
again?
no, it was literally, what do you teach people? Yeah,
Yes.
what is it you teach when you
Yes.
look?
So most people will teach you, if you don't have money, they'll teach you to wholesale. If you have a little bit of money or you have connections, they'll teach you to flip. That's the sexy thing to do. I teach that, but I don't get into it a whole lot. I teach about all the other ways. Real estate, what's great about it, there's so many ways you can make money. And not just with rentals, a big one is wraparound mortgages. Huge. You can make, let me tell you, I made $250,000 on a wraparound mortgage. 7 investor passed out on it. 7. They did not know how to put it together. Those are the things I teach. I teach about the ones that really people are not out there teaching. And I like those because those are the ones that flip is very simple, rentals very simple, wholesaling very simple. But if it doesn't fit in those boxes, then what do? Pass out like these 7 people did? No, there's other ways to making it work. So I teach you that so many different options. When a deal doesn't work here, you try it here, you try it here. It's going to fall into one category, it's going to fall into it.
Perfect. Well, I'm very excited, as I said, to have you speaking at the expo. I'm looking forward to that. What does it take? What does it take for someone to kind of really stand out in your opinion? And this is kind of a generic kind of question, which isn't necessarily related specifically to real estate. What's the difference between a winner, a talker, and a loser? What's the difference in your opinion?
Drive, work ethics, focus, willingness to do it. And you can tell the people right away. The ones that are hungry and are willing to do it, you can tell them right away. They just won't stop. No is not an option. They keep going. If you tell them no, they find a way. So you can tell them right away. The ones that there's a lot of people, everybody wants to make more money. Let's face it. Everybody wants it. But are you willing to put in the time to do it? Are you willing to do the sacrifices? There's many times, there's events, fun events that I could have gone to. I didn't because I needed to work. I needed to get myself on track. And that's the difference is sometimes people are not willing to make the sacrifices. It's short term. short-term sacrifices for the rest of your life. But people are not willing to do that. They just want the money to come in. Well, if you don't put the sacrifices, nobody else is going to do it for you. So those who are willing to do it, those are the winners.
Absolutely. I mean, I always define there's three types of people: those that go and do and make it happen, those that talk about making it happen, those that live the dream, they read the books, they attend the seminars, they make all the notes. I don't know what they do with these notes because they never implement anything. But they carry on reading the books and they carry on attending seminars and signing up to courses. And then there's those that have given up. Have they given up maybe at very early age, maybe in their 30s, 40s, 50s? So, you can definitely tell who's out there. I think the difference is, I mean, one of the things I normally talk about is obviously being aware. We talk about this on our legacy clubs, being aware about our mortality. I think a lot of the time is a lot of these people tend to leave things because they think they've got more time. I'll take care of it next year. And the fact is we don't know how long we're going to be here for. We don't know, kind of what we have and what time we have. And I think that's one of the challenges. I think if we knew, as again, we do in the legacy, well, we have a little, I normally say to people, imagine you've got a countdown here on your chest. You can't actually see it, but there's a countdown there that's telling you how many hours or days you've got left. Hopefully it's years and years. But
exactly.
If that was there and you could see it all the time, would that not trigger you to get and do things? And some of the interesting facts that I was reading is we spend an average of 7 years watching television. Well, 25 years sleeping, but 7 years watching television. Now that's really sad when you could if you spent half of that time reading, learning, working, grafting, people would probably be in a much better place.
Yeah. And funny you say that. I was just thinking, when was the last time I watched TV? I have TVs all over my house. I think, sometimes I'll put them on to go to sleep. That's it.
I get it. Okay, and listen, and I will ask you obviously to add anything else you want at the end and what you're going to be sharing at the expo. But one of the things, obviously, we talk about what would you like your legacy to be in many years from now, Vicky? What would you like it to be?
I would love to be. I am going to reach 1 million people. I'm not going to stop till I do it unless I'm 6 feet under. That's bottom line. So I will reach 1 million people, and I would like to change people's lives. I want to help them. I think going back now, I'm glad that I went through what I went through because I'm able to relate to people, including the empty nest syndrome. I apologize to all the people I ever thought, empty nest syndrome, please get over it. No, that does exist. But I never thought it existed. So I can relate to a lot of this because I've experienced it, and I'm just not going to stop. I'm going to make sure that, people do reach their financial freedom. If they want to go on vacation, they can. If they want to go buy something, they can. They don't have to worry from living from paycheck to paycheck. The worst thing is to live from paycheck to paycheck, and I've been there many times. Trust me on this. But is you are constantly stressed because you know that there's something out there that you're doing things because of money. You're going to work because of money. You're not doing what you like. So if you handle your money situation, you will be so much happier because you are going to do the things that you like. And then hopefully you pay it forward. There's no better feeling when you help somebody else reach their financial freedom. And I would love for my grandkids one day. I don't have any yet, but I will one day. And for my grandkids to know, you know what, my grandma, had a part in that. That'll be pretty cool.
That'd be very cool.
Yeah.
And Vicky, tell me so the expo, for any of you that is listening to this now in the next couple of weeks and before the actual expo happens, which is happening in LA, in the LA Convention Center, 21st of March, 2020. It's the Best You Expo. It's our second event in LA. We did one in Long Beach a couple of years ago. We've done, 5 of these now. We've had more than 60, 70,000 people attend. So it's a big gathering of all personal, professional growth experts, more than 170 speakers we will have there throughout the 2 days, and anything between 8 to 12,000 people. So, Vicky, what will you be sharing at the Best You Expo, and why should people attend?
I am going to teach people about investments. I'm going to teach about those who are willing to put in the time and investments, or those that are maybe have investments and money in the bank. I called the bank and they said that I said, what kind of returns are you giving? They said 0.001. And at first I thought she had the decimal point wrong. No, it really was 0.001. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm going to teach people about investments and not just the basics. Everybody else is doing that. You'll get maybe 1 minute from me about flips and wholesaling. You're going to see actual live situations. I'm going to bring in current deals that are happening, all the good stuff, so you can see it firsthand what is going on there and what you could be doing.
Brilliant. Very excited. Looking forward to that. Why should people attend events like this? Well, why do you think? I mean, I know what happens in these live events and the connections that we make, but what's your experience in live events like ours?
Oh, it's amazing. The networking alone, that is just amazing. You always have to be around like-minded people. If you surround yourself, and I people that are just down all the time, I'm sorry, but you're going to just be down. If when I didn't have anything, I found two people that were willing to want to finance me, right? That were willing to help. Those are the kind of people you want around you. There's enough business for all of us. There's enough out there. The people that want to see you succeed, who are willing to give you the chance and help you, those are the kind of connections you need to build at these events. Don't try to compete with other people. There's no need for that. Find the right people who, what happens to me? I built it so good that people would get a deal and they would know that fit my model perfectly. And they call me and say, Vicky, I have one that fits perfectly for you. Those are the people that were looking out for me. They could have very well taken that deal, but no, they passed it on to me because they wanted to see me succeed. So come to this event, build your network. It takes years to build a network, and you have all these people in this one room or humongous room, and network amongst each other, network, and learn. That's the key to all this.
That's great advice, Vicky. And I think one of the other things that I believe that even speakers, because there might be some speakers that are involved in these events, and I think that's what I always tend to say to people. Look, if you're involved in an event like this, you will probably quite rightly connect with hundreds, if not thousands, of potential customers or potential clients. But I really believe that a lot of the time people miss the point of who's standing next to them as far as a fellow colleague speaker. It's someone that you could exchange. Obviously, apart from contact details, it's the opportunities to maybe work together, to collaborate together, to run events together. So I've seen so many business opportunities happen because of this, and I think it's definitely one of the highlights of what we do. So anyway,
and the other thing really quickly too is can you figure a lot of this stuff out by yourself? Of course you can. The internet has all the information out there. It does. But it will take you so much time to go and do it by yourself and really, really understand it and do hands-on. When you get a mentor that has already experiences, that has a success, because not only are you learning the do's and don'ts, not to say you're not going to learn do's and don'ts also, but you're going to learn, hey, the reason we don't do it this way is because XYZ. That's number one. But also, they have a network also that they will be introducing you to that network. And it's all about networking. Work ethics, driven, focus, and networking. Everything else you'll learn.
No, great advice. Look, at the end of the day, anyone and everyone can build a business, but it will take years and it will take a lot of time and a lot of money. And I think that's what people tend to underestimate, and that's the advantage of learning from an expert. That's the advantage of being mentored by an expert, is that you can learn it quickly and you can save a lot of time. I mean, I'm sure you do mentoring programs.
Yeah.
I do mentoring programs. We all do it. We've all been mentored. Why? Because it works. So Vicky, the last thing is, if all the contact details for anyone that wants to come and see Vicky is going to be at thebestyouexpo.com. If you go to the US page, the LA event, you can sign up and see Vicky at the expo. But how can people find you? How can people connect with you?
You can come to my website, www.vicky, V-I-C-K-Y, Schettini, Schettini, and also on all the social medias, Vicky Schettini. You can also call my office, 601-202-Vicky.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. Last question. Where's your surname from? Where's your family originally from?
Originally, they're from both of my grandparents. They're from Italy, and then they went to Uruguay, South America. So I was born in South America.
Wow. Latino, Latino, Latino.
Latino for sure.
I love it. I love it. Vicky, delighted to speak to you. Thank you so much. You're a pleasure and an honor to speak to, and I'm looking forward to seeing you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Have an amazing day.
My pleasure. Thank you.